How do we learn? How do we learn things quickly? How do we learn things in a way that allows us to go from knowing absolutely nothing about a skill to being really good in a very short period of time? There's one idea that keeps coming up over and over and over again, the 10,000-hour rule. That set of research is valid as far as it goes, but it doesn't go very far. It takes 10,000 hours to reach the top of ultra-competitive, easily ranked performance fields. But that last statement, it takes 10,000 hours to learn something, is demonstrably not true. We can decide to sit down for ourselves and spend a little bit of time going from knowing absolutely nothing about any subject that you could think of, putting a little bit of practice, and becoming very, very good in a very short period of time. The order of magnitude of going from knowing absolutely nothing to being really good and knowing that you're good is about 20 hours. If you can clear a half an hour to 45 minutes a day to sit down and finally learn that thing that you've always wanted to learn, you will be astounded. And the method, very broadly, has 5 steps. The first is decide exactly what you want. What do you want to be able to do? What is it going to look like when you're done? What are you going to be able to look at yourself and say, I did this thing that I've always wanted to do? The more clearly and completely you're able to define exactly what you want to be able to do, the easier it will be for you to find ways to accomplish that desired end result as quickly and efficiently as possible. The second thing that you do is what I call deconstructing the skill. So most of the things that we think of as skills aren't really just one skill. They're bundles of smaller sub-skills that we use in combination with each other, right? So imagine a skill like golf. Golf is not just one thing, it's a bundle of all sorts of things. And for example, driving off the tee and chipping on the green have very little to do in common with each other. Very few skills overlap there, but they're both important if you want to be able to play golf well. So instead of trying to learn golf as a global skill, you break it apart into these smaller parts and you practice the most important sub-skills, things that you're going to use most, first. That allows you to focus on the elements of practice that actually give you the performance. The third part is researching. Researching just enough that you're able to identify the most important sub-skills involved in whatever it is that you want to learn how to do. But also understanding and being able to self-correct as you're practicing. So go out and find 3 to 5 books. Now the trick is, don't allow that research to become a form of procrastination. Pick 3, 4, 5 resources. You don't go through them completely. You skim them. And what you're looking for in that initial research process, go through lots of different resources and identify the ideas that come up over and over and over again. That's a very clear indication that those concepts and those techniques are particularly important. The fourth part is removing barriers to practice, making it easy to sit down and actually do the thing you want to get better at. In our lives, we have thousands of distractions. During the practice process, it's extremely important to make sure that you are not distracted by outside forces. Turn off the TV, block the internet, close the door, turn off your cell phone. Likewise, anything you can do to make it easy for yourself to practice, do that. So instead of relying on your willpower to force yourself to sit down every single time, use a little bit of willpower once and make it easy for yourself to do the things you want to do. So for example, one classic skill that people usually want to learn, playing the guitar. Which is easier? Picking up a guitar that is right next to you, sitting on a stand by the chair that you usually sit on, or getting a guitar out of a case that's in the back of a closet on the other side of your house every time you want to practice. Anything you can do to remove friction or remove effort from desiring to practice to getting started is a benefit. It helps you do what you've already decided to do. And fifth, and very importantly, pre-commit to at least 20 hours of focused, deliberate practice before you begin.